Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode number 4 of my playthrough of my city skylines build, Cuavopolis. In the last episode, if you didn't see it, we built our first neighborhood right here, which we named Waltham for some reason. I don't know. First name that came into my head. And we also added a cargo train station over to our industrial area over here. Now, I took a little time since the last episode. I booted the game, I came in, and immediately you can see we have some problems. So that's what we're going to be tackling today. And if we look at these industrial, factories and whatnot over here, we can see that they all are kind of having the same issue, which is not enough raw materials. What does that mean? Basically, industry in city skylines produces goods that can be sold in commercial buildings, and in order to produce those goods, they need a certain number of raw materials. Certain, industries require different things, but it's usually a mix of things like oil products and ore products and farming products and, things of that nature. So just general, zoned industry like this is just producing goods, and they need to be importing those raw materials. And right now we have a freeway connection and we have a cargo station, and you can see that that's alleviating some of the issues, and there's a lot of people using that, which is good. The issue is we're not getting a high enough volume of raw materials to these industrial businesses, and a part of that is because they have to import all of these things because we're not producing any specialized industry in our city. There's also no warehouses for them to even store specialized goods in. So we can't create, a surplus of goods. Anytime somebody needs something, they have to import it. So the best thing to do, I think, to start this off, at least in terms of trying to alleviate some of the issues of starting the industry in your game, is we are going to need to add some warehouses. So I'm going to go into my roads here, and I'm going to find like the smallest road that I can. And then I'm going to see if I have room to go into my industries tab and plop a few warehouses down, and I sort of do. And the heights are a little wonky, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control H, and then I can adjust the heights of these using Move It. And okay, there we go. Now they're all the same height. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, the train, it's definitely a tight squeeze for the train, to be honest. Maybe I can... Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly okay with that. Okay, we have these yards by this by the rail station here. So now we need to specialize what these guys are actually holding and carrying. So this one, forestry. We'll make this one farming. We'll make this one ore. Make this one oil, and we will make this one commercial goods. So now people are exporting through freeway and train station. They actually have a place to start some money. Actually, there's a little one-way engine from here to there. So anybody that comes out here just quickly get rid of these guys. But that might be working. As you can see immediately, like, some of them are filling up. As I mentioned before, generic industry needs raw materials in order to actually make stuff. Here's a little diagram of how it works. Isn't it cool? I'll tell you one thing. Our city is... We're starting off with a good deal of pollution. That's not great. In good news, though, you can see that our warehouses are beginning to fill up a little bit. And what that means is that we're finally getting some of these raw materials that we need imported to our city from outside cities, which is super, super fantastic. However, we're still not seeing a lot of the bubbles go away. So I think it's time for us to build our first specialized industry. What I'm going to focus on now is getting people to use this interstate right here and building a quarry right here. because it really has good access to the interstate, which obviously has great access to this industry right here, which makes it a pretty viable solution for the time being. So what I'm going to do to start this off is I'm going to build an exit coming off of the highway. And yes, I want it to go more or less directly to the quarry, but I want to keep in mind our future expansion of the city. You know, downtown is way the hell out here, but we want to be able to have a road that goes somewhere. So maybe it, you know, separates from the interstate and then kind of curves up this way, or kind of goes down this way. You know, we want to think, where could this lead us in the future? So what I think is the best move is to find a good, you know, suitable area in terms of our terrain to build an interchange. And you can see we got this big hill up here, so we don't really want to build a road here. I think our best bet is to kind of snake it along that flat part here. So I'm going to find a big wide road with a median. I'm going to put that terrain view back on, and I'm just going to Alright, I'm just going to end the road there for now, so we have somewhat of an idea of where it's going to go. It's probably going to be kind of the main road down this peninsula. We'll probably have another road coming off this way, but you can kind of see the basic outline for how this road is going to, you know, navigate between this little stream and this hill and all that. So now that we have that, we're going to need to connect it up to the freeway. And I think the best way to do that, because we're on this gradual rise here, is I'm going to make a little underpass. I like that a lot more than just having a giant bridge across. I think it looks at least a little bit more natural. And then I think our best bet for this is probably to have like an intersection or a roundabout, and then have one road go kind of like that, and then up there, and then another one kind of go out that way. But this is still like pretty far outside of our downtown and stuff, so you know, I'm not going to worry about that too much for now. I'm literally just going to leave it just kind of like that, so we have the option for the future. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add our on and off ramps. Okay, now is it pretty? Not really. Is it functional with the terrain? You bet. So we're just going to keep it like that. Like I said, it's a good ways outside of the city. We're not really concerned about the real estate of this land. We don't care if this is a giant interchange, because this is out in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's going to be a lot of big, heavy trucks taking this. We want these to be like, you know, sweeping turns. We want them to have room to accelerate and decelerate, you know, stuff like that. I'm going to get this small 4-lane road. Basically, the idea is trucks will enter on this road, and then to go sort of the raw materials, they go this way. And then for our processing plants, which you'll see in a minute, I'll probably put this way, and then we'll have some storage up this way. It'll all make a little more sense in a minute, but from this road, you can see we have direct access to the area that has the ore. Alright, so now we have some basis for what our roads are going to look like. Now let's actually start by working on our industrial area here. So let's go ahead into ore industry and find our main building. We need to put this down before we can even put anything else down. And I want it in a place that's accessible. I'm going to put it on the right-hand side of the entry road for anybody coming in. It's very easy to get to, and I'm just honestly probably going to put it right there. So now that we have our main building down, we have access to everything else. So the workers' barracks, I'm also going to put kind of near to here. I think I'm going to put these over here because there's not a lot of other useful things that could even go there. So that's for the workers to stay at. We'll go ahead and add the maintenance building as well. And I want this to be accessible too. I think it might make sense to give it kind of its own area of some kind. I'm going to extend the dirt roads behind it like that. And in all honesty, I'm going to put the maintenance thing facing the other way so it doesn't feed out directly onto the big road. I think that will probably be a little bit more functional. So there we kind of have like the office compound, so to speak, of the area. And now we can kind of get started on our extraction buildings. So for ore, we have quite a few. The big boys are these large ore mines, these giant mines, I guess. They almost look like cranes or something. But we're going to put a few of these in here just because they are very good at what they do. They do take up a lot of room, but these are the kind of things that, we'll probably put behind this little hill there so that, anybody living in the city won't really see them. They're kind of shielded from view. So I think these will probably go best somewhat around here. We do have to extend our industry area just a tad to make sure we cover the whole thing. And let's go ahead and throw these down. So now it is time to build an area to store these things, as well as build some units that can process what we're extracting out of the ground over here. And we have a nice big flat area over here with not too many resources, underneath it. So this is a prime spot to probably store some of our ore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this small 4-lane road. So, as you can see, we have a couple of different ways we can store ore. These are all different capacities. I want to go ahead with the big ones just because we do have the big extractors over here. And let's see, can those fit in that block? Not super well, which is a bit of a shame. What about these? I think it would also make sense to go with just what looks aesthetically good too, because honestly, this big guy might look better over here anyway. Let's see, could I kind of cheat this in here? How weird. I don't like that. Nope. Get rid of that. Alright, well, I think we're going to end up using some of these then for now. Because these fit pretty well. So I'm going to space these 2 units apart, just like everything else, so we can add some roads if necessary. And then we're left with these edges. Let's see, maybe we could fit something like this in here. No, not quite. We might be able to fit some kind of processing building here, though. Let's take a look. Maybe some small scale ones. Let's look at our ore grinding mill. Even that is like slightly too big. What about the glass plant? Yeah, no. That's not gonna work. That might just have to be a little bit of an awkward place. Or another thing we could try is we could turn it into a parking lot. And then maybe over here we can put like a fire station, because we are going to need something like that. So now they got a fire station here. They got some storage facilities for what they're excavating over here. Let's go ahead and click on our industry area. You can see we're producing some ore, which is good. It could be better. We could be extracting some more. So let's go ahead and build just a few more extraction buildings then. Okay, now that we have this much built, I think we should actually think about changing our policies here I'm going to go ahead and turn them all on, improve logistics, improve safety supervision, and advanced automation. Okay, so after letting the game speed up for a little bit and work some kinks out, you can see we're no longer importing materials from other cities. Our storage is all the way filled up, and maybe most excitedly, people are using the parking lot, which is super, super cool. We've actually created a good deal of workplaces, 700 and some, and we're making money in the city, which is cool. We're gaining some population, which is also cool. But we're not done with our quarry situation yet, because we still have metals and glass to produce. Now, in order to make things like metals and glass, you have to build, they're not factories, but they're processing plants for the raw materials to then turn it into things that you can then send out to factories. Now, for ore, you have 4 options, but there's only 2 things you can make, which are, metals and glass. So, let's go ahead and think about how we want to do this. I think it would kind of be interesting to have some of the factories near to where the workers' barracks and stuff are, because even though, yes, every one of these buildings has people working there, I feel like realistically more people work doing things like this than some of the more automated drilling and stuff like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've never worked a drilling job before, so let me know. I don't know. But I'm going to build some of these metal plants sort of over in this direction. I'm going to build it right there where the road curves. And just as a little fun sheet that I like to do to get double the processing power, if you have anarchy, you can put the same building on top of itself. And sometimes you can get it to look kind of decent. Like, that kind of doesn't look super weird, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do that, if you guys don't mind. As you can see, these guys are complaining about not having enough raw materials. That is mainly because all of the ore is way the hell over here. You're probably wondering, hey, why'd you build it so far away? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, as I said, I wanted to be close to all this stuff. And 2, I think it would be interesting if the Summit Mining Company invested in a railroad, a private railroad to transport cargo, basically on their own prerogative to reduce truck traffic in their development. So, we're going to do just that, but in a little bit. It might even be in a future video, depending on how long we run today. But we're going to start with the processors just for right now. So as you can see, like I said, they're complaining about not having enough access to the actual ore itself. That's okay. Let's solve that. Gonna go ahead and add these little cross streets. And here I'm going to add another ore storage facility. This one, as a matter of fact, because it fits really almost perfectly right there. And then another thing that we can do, which it will be very helpful to us, is to build a warehouse. So these are found in the warehouse tab. You can get a bunch of different types, and one of the new ones that they just added to the game a few months ago is a warehouse with a railway connection. The actual station, I'll put it down for a second just so you can see, only has one rail entrance, so it's not like they can go through it by any means, but then you can kind of fork this if you want. Or you could just put a warehouse near to a cargo rail station, but then you kind of run into traffic issues and it's a whole thing. So we're going to try to experiment a little bit with the brand new thing that they just added to the game. So let's go ahead and scooch this down so it's like perfectly squared up with that road there. And as you can see, this rail is already sort of headed in that direction, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to grab ourselves some railroad, and we're just going to send it straight down this way. And then now we're going to try to find a decent place for our station. Now here it doesn't matter that the station has a warehouse, because you can't store ore in warehouses. You can only store them in these, ore storage units. So here we can just basically just have a cargo train station. So let's try to find the best place to do that. And I actually believe I have some custom assets, which might be, yeah, here we go. This is a super cool cargo train station. Looks super realistic. I think we could squeeze that in right there, honestly. And then we might have to finagle the train track a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so as you can see, the Summit Mining Company has invested in just a local rail track to help move things from this end to this end, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's a little pointless for now, but I have plans to extend this eventually and integrate it with other rail in the city once we expand. So there's method to my madness, don't worry. But this is kind of how we're going to leave it just for the time being. And we're going to go ahead and designate this warehouse as a metals warehouse. And immediately we get a level up, which is awesome. If we look at Summit Mining, we are now producing a good chunk of metals. We now have 870 workers. We're almost producing our entire supply of ore. Not quite. We're importing $480 worth, which isn't great because, as you can see, we are losing money. Yikes. Well, let's start producing some glass, shall we? So I think we can get away with having the glass plant kind of behind this train station here. And you'll see why in a second. Probably right there is our best bet. Beautiful. And then let's go ahead and take this road. Maybe, can I force it right there? Yep. And then I'm gonna add just like a service road that doesn't actually connect up with the main road. I'm just gonna add one like that, connect that up, perfect. And then leave a little awkward triangle right there, and then I'm gonna grab one of these again and put it right there. And then this way, I know I said we'd leave it like that for now, but I was kind of lying. I was gonna add this. Now, there's a warehouse for glass as well. And I'm going to do the same trick I did with the glass, and I'm going to put 2 of the manufacturing plants on top of each other. So let's see how weird does that look. Maybe less weird if I put it like there. Oh, no, that's super weird. Never mind, never mind. Abort, abort. Okay, there we go. Looks alright. There's our glass manufacturing plant. It's pretty cool. Nothing special, but it'll do. It's alright. We're gonna extend this weird road across these train tracks and eventually mate up with this road here. Alright, if we take a look, you can see we're now making a little bit of glass, some amount of metals, and a decent amount of ore. We're no longer importing stuff. We're starting to make a little bit of money. We have over 1,000 people employed here. Things are going pretty well. And if you're looking at this, whoa. If you're looking at this and you're wondering, why is such a big empty space in between, like, everything? Isn't that kind of wasteful? Yeah. It is. But I have plans for this space as well. I think eventually more warehouses and factories would fit super well in here. Like, for example, what I'm going to do before I end the video, which is add our very first factory. And I'm going to add a factory that requires nothing except what we're producing here. But this will be a good introduction to how factories work. So factories are found in the Industries tab right here. And what I'm going to be placing right here is the industrial steel plant, because all that this requires is just a little bit of metal. So now we just got to find a place that is suitable. I think it might make sense to put it kind of by these warehouse yards. I think it would also make sense to connect these streets up. Alright, so I built this crossroad here, and I think I'm going to build the steel mill right back here. And I'm going to frame it in a service road like that. And then this gives us ample room around the area for warehouse yards, you know, any other auxiliary things we might want to put here to help with the steel production. But basically, the way this works, and so now that you have a good industries overview, we extract the ore using buildings like these. We store it in buildings like these. We then process it in buildings like these, and store what we have processed in buildings like these, warehouses. And then these we can then ship to a factory and turn them into a good that can be sold. So you can see I put this down immediately. We have $6,400 in production value. And then you can crank this slider up if you got like a bunch of extra metals, you know, and you can afford to have a higher production rate. You can crank that up, make a little bit more money. Obviously the materials cost you more, but there will be, you know, large profits associated with that. But that's pretty much it for the very beginning anyway. I mean, the Summit Mining Company I plan on having be a major employer in this city now and in the future. So this is not the end of me building this industrial site. There will be upgrades, improvements, redevelopments, things will disappear. But this is where we're going to start right now. And I do want to mention real quick, I did put a fire station down, but make sure you do put city services down. You can see these guys are asking for trash and stuff. I might put down a trash thing off camera, but this video's been long enough. You're probably tired of it. I'm tired of talking. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in episode 5.